Hello everyone, back again with movie and tune recap. Today, I'm going to explain an American comedy horror film from 2025, titled Anaconda. Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. The film opens in the Amazon rainforest in Brazil, where a young woman, Ana Almeida, and her partner prepare to board a boat. Ana suddenly leaves her partner behind and rides away on a motorcycle. However, she is pursued by a group of men led by João, who follow her by boat. During the chase, an anaconda bursts from the water and drags one of João's men beneath the surface. Meanwhile in Buffalo, Doug McAllister works for a wedding video company and insists on making the videos more cinematic than the clients want, as they prefer something simple and straightforward. Meanwhile, Doug's best friend, Ronald Griffin, is a struggling actor. He lands a minor role on a medical television show but is fired after attempting to do more than his assigned line reading. Doug returns home with his wife, Malie, and their son, Charlie, to find a surprise birthday party waiting for him. The celebration is attended by Griff, along with other childhood friends, Kenny Trent and Claire Simons. Griff surprises everyone by producing a copy of a film the four friends made as children, The Quatch, a cheesy homemade monster movie that the group ends up enjoying together. The following morning, the friends meet for breakfast and talk about their shared love of films, including the 1997 movie Anaconda, which Doug and Griff have long dreamed of remaking. Griff reveals that he has acquired the rights to the Anaconda franchise and wants to finally make the film they always talked about. Kenny and Claire agree to join the project, both feeling dissatisfied with their current lives, particularly Kenny, who struggles with substance abuse and was previously fired by Doug from the company because of it. However, Doug believes the project is too risky and not worth the gamble. Doug later discusses the idea with Malie, who encourages him to pursue it, though he initially remains convinced it is a bad decision. After watching yet another wedding video he produced for a client, Doug realizes he does not want to spend the rest of his life doing this kind of work. He goes to Griff's house and agrees to move forward with the remake, and the four friends regroup to plan the budget, secure a loan, and Doug begins working on the script. They travel to Brazil and rent a boat, accompanied by their snake handler, Santiago Braga, who brings along his snake, Heitor, to portray the titular Anaconda. During their journey, they encounter Ana, who attempts to take control of the boat as João and his men close in on her, and with no other option, she joins the group on their trip. The group begins shooting the film on a very low budget, with Kenny operating the camera and Griff and Claire starring as the two leads, during which they gradually rekindle their former romantic relationship. The situation turns gruesome when Griff, terrified of being so close to Heitor, accidentally throws the snake into the water, and the snake is pulled into the boat's turbine and torn apart. Santiago is devastated by the loss, and Griff attempts to make amends by offering to help find a replacement snake. That night, Griff and Santiago head out onto the water, where Santiago is dragged away by an anaconda, prompting Griff to flee in panic. Griff convinces the others to abandon the boat and help search for Santiago. As they move through the jungle, João attempts to attack them, but Ana knocks him unconscious with a rifle, and she explains that João is part of a dangerous group of gold miners operating in the area. The group takes shelter in an old camper, where they are horrified when Santiago's partially digested body falls onto the windshield. They come face to face with the anaconda, which surprisingly does not attack. When the camper fails to start, Doug goes outside to fix the engine and narrowly avoids being eaten. The group manages to escape, with João pursuing them, and determined to continue the project while staying alive. The group resumes filming. Doug shifts the focus of the film toward Ana, impressed by her toughness and combat skills. This creates tension with Griff, who feels Doug is prioritizing his own vision too much. The situation worsens when they encounter several boats belonging to a film crew shooting an actual Sony reboot of Anaconda. Confronted with this, Griff admits that he never truly owned the rights to Anaconda and only used the project as a way to revive his failing career. Doug and Griff argue, and Griff storms off on a small boat, intending to catch up with the crew and find a way home. When Griff reaches the crew's boats, he discovers them destroyed and completely abandoned. One of the production assistants they had previously spoken to briefly appears, only to be killed by the Anaconda moments later. Griff retrieves a rifle from the crew's belongings and heads back toward his friends. Anna reveals that she is the true dangerous gold miner, while Joao is actually a police officer attempting to arrest her. She forces Doug, Kenny, and Claire to collect gold for her and load it onto the boat. Joao intervenes and tries to arrest Anna, but Griff interferes and shoots Joao in the leg. Anna then kills Joao and turns her rifle on Claire. Claire pretends to break down emotionally, distracting Anna long enough to wrestle the weapon away from her. At that moment, the Anaconda emerges from the water and drags Anna under, killing her, while the rest of the group escapes. The four friends are then forced to trek through the jungle in search of safety. Doug is bitten on the leg by a spider, and Kenny urinates on the wound in an attempt to stop the toxin from spreading. When Doug tries to reconcile with Griff, he is suddenly swallowed by the Anaconda. Griff is consumed with guilt, believing Doug to be dead, but Doug is later regurgitated by the snake. The group uses him, along with a seemingly dead boar, as bait for the Anaconda. Both Doug and the boar turn out to be alive. Doug manages to escape and reunite with the others, though the boar is eaten again. Realizing there is no other way out, the friends decide they must kill the Anaconda. They come across the wreckage of the reboot film set and recover a walkie-talkie, which they use to call for help. Someone begins firing flares at the snake, and the rescuer is revealed to be Ice Cube, who was set to reprise his role from the original film before the Anaconda attacked. He explains that the set is rigged with pyrotechnics and instructs them to use the explosives to kill the snake. Doug and Griff lure the Anaconda into the explosive area, with Kenny helping to trigger the charges. When the plan fails and the snake corners them, it slithers toward a group of propane tanks. Griff fires a flare into the tanks, causing a massive explosion that destroys the Anaconda's body. When the head remains alive, Doug delivers the final blow using a trophy given to him by Charlie. The friends survive and walk away victorious. Sometime later, the group premieres their completed unauthorized remake, The Anaconda, to a positive audience response. On-screen text reveals that they were unable to secure theatrical distribution after Sony issued a cease and desist order. Griff and Claire marry, with Doug filming their wedding video in his own creative styles, and Kenny overcomes his personal struggles and finds success elsewhere. In the final scene, Doug is visited by Jennifer Lopez, another star of the original film, who praises the remake and offers him the opportunity to direct an official reboot, causing Doug to promptly faint. The film concludes with the revelation that Santiago is still alive. Okay guys, that's all the recap about Anaconda from 2025. Thanks for watching, see you again in the next video.